Doing an oil change on a 2009 Nissan Altima V6 3.5 liter. Car's jacked up. First thing you do is you open up the hood, come to the oil cap on the left side, loosen it. This car takes 5W30, takes a little less than 5 quarts, so I'm putting synthetic oil in, so I got the 530 synthetic, and now we're going to the car. Alright, now when you get under the car, you locate the oil pan, which is right here. There's a bolt at the end, 14mm bolt, and you would put your oil pan, your catch can, under it for it to catch all the oil, and you would loosen this at the very end. Be careful because it will shoot out. Don't lose that bolt. Make sure that there's no gasket or rubber seal or anything like that left on the bolt before you try to put it back on afterwards. So at this point, just loosen it, have the oil drain out. Now get the 14mm, you loosen it, I busted it open already, so now you just make sure the pan's under. Loosen it with your finger to a certain point. You'll start feeling some oil come out, and then it'll just shoot out, so just be careful. Make sure the car hasn't been driven, because it could be hot and you don't want hot oil everywhere. So alright, let that drain, takes a couple minutes.
The guy's gonna come out here at 1.
Alright, at this point it's still dripping a little bit, so basically just wipe off any oil coming out, and then with you can hand tighten the actual bolt back on there. Like I said before, make sure there's no gasket or rubber seal on the actual pan itself before you put the bolt, because then there will be a space, and then you'll have like a slow leak. So I just wipe away all the extra oil that's around here, tighten it, hand tight, and then I can use the wrench to tighten it a little more. Alright, now the second thing you have to do is you have to get to the oil filter itself. On this Nissan, the filter is going to be, see this is the, when you look at the car, this is the right front tire. Filter's right in there. That's it right there. So basically you just get the filter, twist it out, and some oil will leak on the actual chassis, which is this part right here, but I mean, you got to get it out. And like I said, with the bolt, make sure that the gasket comes with the filter, because the new filter you're going to put on there has a new gasket. So don't let the gasket stay on the car itself, because like I said before, it'll have a little gap, and you don't want any gaps. You want everything to be tight so that no oil leaks out. I'll do that now. I loosened it so it's draining a little bit, let it drain, and then you can take it out completely. Alright, for the filter itself, I took the old one out, made sure the gasket was on there. This is the new one. It's a Pure Leader Boss filter for this car. You can go to any local auto parts store and they have their own brands and their own stuff, but this one has this gasket seal on it. Basically what you do is you can stick your finger in in some of the old oil that you had, or in the new oil that you're going to put in, and just rub oil around here just to get it a little slick, and then put it back on the car where the other filter was on, okay? Before you pour any new oil into the car, you put this back on. Alright, so now we're on top of the car. We put the filter back on. We emptied out all the oil, put the filter back on, and put the bolt back on the bottom oil pan. Now, this is the Castrol Edge high mileage synthetic that we purchased. We're gonna put this in. I think the car takes about 4.2, 4.3 quarts. If you change the filter, you're looking at a 4.5, 4.6. So I mean, it's close to 5 quarts. And just play it by ear and check the gauge inside the car. So now we just pour in the new oil. All right. I use one of these filters, get the oil, and pour in. Now, when I first start pouring in, I stop, and I go under the car, and I make sure that it's not pouring out anywhere. No drops, no constant flows of water coming down, or sorry, oil coming down from the pans, just to make sure. And then I come back up, I pour the rest. So I'm gonna put 4 to be exact, and then the 5th one I'll start working with to see how much the car really needs. All right, when you're done pouring, take the filter out. Put this cap back on. Hand tight is good. For the most part, everything hand tight. I mean, if you want to use, you know, tools or anything like that, that's fine. But for the most part, hand tight stuff. Maybe use a tool to tighten a little more on the bolt down there in the pan. But hand tight the filter, because if you're gonna do the oil change next time, you don't want to do it too tight, because then you struggle to get it off next time. So that's it. Put the car back down off the jacks and turn on. Make sure the gauge has the oil in the middle. If the oil is if the oil pressure is too low or too high, the gauge will tell you. Too low means something's loose. There might be some oil leaking. Too high means you may have overfilled a little bit. So just keep an eye on that gauge. And if you need anything, put some comments below and I'll answer any questions. Thank you.